to the final week four of the Giant Crit Crushers series. It's been 2 races each night. Tonight, I'm welcome Rihanna Crean for the first time in this series, Rihanna, but earlier in the year, we were able to do the virtual National Road Series together. You'll be interested to see this is a really cracking series. 2 races, 10 minutes before each between the 2 races. Really short and sharp and some really difficult time to back up, but it's definitely tested out the limits of the riders, and so many people have been turning up each week.
Yeah, thanks for having me, Pat. Really looking forward to watching the race unfold tonight. I certainly got some big shoes to fill. I know Katie Bates has been doing an awesome job in co-commentary with you over the past couple of weeks. So I'm not sure if I can fill her shoes as well as she's been doing, but I'm looking forward to the racing. And it's full on, as you said, only 10 minutes between each of the 2 crit races. I certainly wouldn't want to be in the saddle this evening, but these guys have been doing a phenomenal job over the course of the last 4 weeks. The big grand finale on tonight. We've got 2 huge races ahead of us, and I'm really looking forward to it.
Yeah, and in both the women's and men's, we've got 4 grades, A, B, C, and D grade, 2 races each. The classifications across the board are really close, so it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out in this final round. But also, it's just been phenomenal to see the stories coming out too. A lot of people turning up, not having a great race 1, but certainly then turning up and turning around race 2. And my favourite race so far, my best race I've seen so far, was race 2 in the women's last week. Rock solid attacker in the women's race. They really threw everything at it. But this week, as we've been doing, we're following the men. We will have highlights of the women's between the 2 races for the men. And after race 2, we'll have race 2 of the women's highlights. So looking forward to that. Rihanna, you watched last week's back. What did you take from that race?
Yeah, I mean, as we've seen across the course of the entire sort of winter series on Zwift, Rock Salt Attacker team, they've been strong across many of the virtual races that we've had throughout Zwift. And it was really awesome to see Carly Taylor, who we know very well in Zwift ourselves, who works with Zwift, and she's back racing. She's back racing for real, with the Rock Salt Attacker team. So it was awesome to see her, and we got to have a chat with her as well. But those girls with that team are doing a phenomenal job.
Yeah, Carly Taylor, she was really strong last week for that team. Let's have a look at the GC standings at the moment as they sit. We'll cover the men's for now, and we'll have a look at the A-grade standings first up. It's really tight, and there's been some great racing. Thomason's been fantastic at the top of the leaderboard. He leads on 100 points. Christo Ball right there on 98. I told you it was tight at the top. Kieran Lewis on 85. Graham the Grizzly Frizzly on 59. Brendan Trecky Johnson, one of our in-house live cams tonight, he's on 55 points in 5th, with Daryl Carter just 2 points behind in 6th. A further point back to David Kelly, Viz Red in 8th, Psychopath in 9th, and Nicholas Pedson in equal 9th, actually. So really jam-packed there, but at the top of the leaderboard, those 3 look like they're going to fight it out. Jammed at the top as well, B-grade, Damien Hassan and Nick Owen tied on 97 points, with Paddy Quiggin in 92 points, Ian Manick 83 points, Toshiaki 71 points, and along to the bottom there, James Dunn, at 36 points. In C grade, we've got still a strong performance on top. Dale Lingwood 104 points. In second, Andrew Bain on 94. Bone Shaker, well, you'll have to shake the bones tonight on 88. And rounding out the top 10, James Maxted under 13, with Max Newsman up there in under 13s as well. Big shout out to those 2 in 6th and 10th respectively. And in D grade, and we've got some big races tonight to tie up this, but it's a big lead for Scott Dowling, 103 points, back to Michael Muscat from SMCC on 71. And fighting for the podium positions tonight will be all the way from Neil Street down in 7th at 49 points, all the way back up to Mark Saunders on 66. So quite tight there, with 20 points available for first place, all the way down to 1 point for 20th. It's a point score system, and it's going to be a difficult one tonight, but a lot of places can change up.
Yeah, as you said, Pat, those positions at the very top are still very much up for grabs. So tonight is extremely important.
Yeah, we've got some live riders on tonight. Again, we get Vanderplug back from last week, hopefully in a bit better form tonight. But we'll talk to them after the first race. There's also Brendan Trecky Johnson will head down to the pens, or they might have just been started, actually. The pace has been so hot out of the starting pen. Well, we've got some perfect timing there, and they have rolled out. So some strong riders, as I said, Thomason, he's been phenomenal. He's really been one of the highlights of the series so far, and he took the win in race one last week, Rihanna, and his speed that he hit the line at was phenomenal. He actually stunned Graham Frisley quite significantly in that sprint.
Yeah, and we just know how important the starts of these races are. They are very short, sharp courses. As you know, we are on a crit course. First race tonight, race one, is at downtown Dolphin Track. It's only 7.9 kilometres in total distance. Pretty short on the elevation as well, only 68 metres of elevation. So it's short, it's sharp, it's going to sting, but these guys know that what they're in for tonight.
Yeah, looking at Will Hodges here from Oliver's Real Foods Racing, and they've been really standout performers as well. They've had the whole team participating in the series, which is really good. Just seeing Thomason sliding up there, so that's good to see. Kieran Lewis, who sits in third, he's right there and has the ability tonight to take it all out. He's going to have to perform really strongly, just like he did last week. Great to see Wes Sulzberger for Zwift HQ right up there as well, maybe helping out Kieran Lewis tonight to try and give him those extra points. But they're flying along 300 to 400 watts. Seeing at the front, we're following Trekkie Johnson at the moment. We'll have a chat to him after this race. There's the live cam. He's looking good too. The locks look nice too, Rihanna.
Yeah, it's I don't know if he's looking at himself on the camera, is listening to us, or what he's doing, but he's looking like he's getting that heart rate up nice and high already. As we go full screen down in the pain cave, giving us a little bit of a cheeky smile there. It's awesome that we get to see all the riders in their pain bunkers at home live during these races, and as you can see, the heart rates are up nice and high at the start of this race.
Yeah, well, Trekkie Johnson, he sits on behind Dylan Lindsay. Oh, he's on the aggression now. Look at him. He's show poking for the camera. 1.6 kilometres into tonight's race one. It's hard to realise with everything that's gone on with COVID-19 through this 2020 year, but Brendan Trekkie Johnson, he was the winner of the Melbourne Warrnambool earlier this year in fantastic style. And it's not hard to forget that because we've had so much go on. It feels like a long time ago. But it's such a strong rider, and we're very lucky to have him racing in this series, the Giant Crit Crusher series.
Yeah, and he's just come back to the pack at the moment. I think the camera's off and he's back into the pack. So his boys keeping nice and tightly bunched at the moment. And they are keeping up really strong watts at the start of this race, just 2.2 kilometres in. But they know there is not a lot of time to make up some pace in this race.
That's a perfect point you make there, Rihanna. And also what it is because of the short nature of the race, if you make a tactical error, let's say the aggressive move there by Trekkie Johnson, for him to now recover, he has less time as well. Great to see Nick Canterbury. He's up there for Saddleless Giant Racing as well. Haven't seen Graham Frisley in there tonight just yet, but I'm sure he's in there, and they've got a good team around him again tonight, so they'll be looking to get him up for that sprint finish. Even though it's not a very difficult course, the peloton has really thinned out very early.
And how do you see them playing this final race of the series, Pat? Do they go all out in the first one, or do they really need to balance themselves out for both races?
Well, I think at the top of the leaderboard you have Thomason, and really if he can pull out a top three in this first race tonight, I think you feel really comfortable going into race two. And if I was in his position, I'd want to be picking up some good points just to put all of the pressure on the other riders. Worst case scenario, he doesn't get many points, and he starts to give the others confidence that it is possible to take the win. One of those riders would be Kieran Lewis. He's right up there. He's doing everything right, and he's been quite consistent throughout the 4-week racing series here for the Crit Crusher series. And if he was to pick up, say, 5 or 6 points to close the gap in race one, this could be a really, really edgy race for race two later on this evening, which is around 11 kilometres in distance.
Yeah, we just saw a few of those power-ups being used as well, a couple of the featherweight power-ups and a couple of the little aero power-ups being used as well, just as we cross over the halfway mark of this race. I mean, there's not much elevation in this race, but a couple of those little pinches really do sting when you're at the top of your watts.
particularly if you're getting in the back end of the pack. And like we said, it's hard to move up through the peloton, particularly at the high power, but also it's difficult to recover after an exertion of effort. So we'll keep an eye on and see how Trekkie is at the finish. Nathan Elliott, he's in there as well tonight, and he's been a really strong performer. Hasn't really picked up a heap of points, but every single race he has been making some form of aggressive move in the final kilometre. So keep an eye out for him, because if he gets the right power up, he could snatch the victory from the sprinters tonight.
Yeah, and as we see, just a couple more of those power-ups being used from the guys sort of in the middle of this pack at the moment. It's really crucial to ensure that you use it just at the right time, particularly in these shorter crit races.
Yeah, well, we've seen a lot of this sort of use of the power-ups in this series. They know they're passing the finish line 4 times tonight, and they're going to pick up a power-up each time. Some of these power-ups, as we see, like the lightweight feather and also the drafting, we've seen them used just as a throwaway, really. Riders just discarding them so they can pick up, potentially get that aero power-up for this final sprint. And you're going to need it tonight in both races. We've seen no breakaways win in this series yet, so as odds sort of suggest, we're going to see 2 sprint finishes again tonight.
Yeah, looking forward to that. That's for sure. We're certainly seeing some really serious what's getting pushed out by these guys tonight. They are playing for keeps. We've got a couple of boys at the front just ready to have a little bit of a surge and see what they can do.
Yes, right at the front, it's pretty similar faces each week, and certainly Trekkie Johnson is still back up the front there. Thomason keeping a close eye for Van Dam Racing, so he's right up there in the mix as well. Where's Sulzberger, Jeremy Cameron? We've also seen Lecomte from France. He's often in racing in the Australian series throughout winter, so it's been good to see him too. And some other riders that we were looking at earlier, Nick Canterbury's still up there, so too Will Hodges. Felke's been very good, Jay Felke, over the previous weeks as well.
So we're just about to tick over that 6 kilometre mark. Remembering this is only a 7.9 kilometres in total. So these boys are just about to get into the last kilometre of racing for this first race tonight.
Yeah, they come around and get the bell, and now they head into the final lap of this circuit. And as you can see, it's happened quickly, 6.2 kilometres. They're sitting at 50 kilometres an hour, and they've covered that in just over 7 minutes. It's Will Hodges, who we're watching now. Still haven't seen any signs of Christo Ball, who is sitting second in the general classification, just 2 points back from Jason Thomason. So Thomason's got it all to do at the front. We can see his name highlighted just at the front with VDR, Van Dam Racing, right in brackets next to his name. So he's the one to watch tonight. He's been fast on the line, and although this is a flattish circuit, there's not a lot of riders left in this pack.
No, that's right. And you can see now the watts really starting to push up over that 400 watts at the moment. These boys, they're leaving nothing on the table. They know they've got a second race, but this is the final round of the series. So here we go. Final kilometre now.
Yeah, saw Cam Clamp up there as well. They go under the final kilometre arch. Love those animations coming through with the confetti. But it's going to be who has the aero power-ups. Can we see a new winner tonight? Someone special. Can Kieran Lewis pull something out to put the pressure back onto Jason Thomason for the final race later tonight? Nathan Elliott, I spoke about him at the start, and here he is, forging his way to the front to make amends for the previous weeks. He's been aggressive but hasn't been able to pull off a victory. We're on board with Herod now. Kieran Lewis was right there. Look at the power-ups being pumped. Someone's gone long here. It's Normski, who we saw earlier being quite aggressive. He's gone a long way from home, but can he get the job done on his wheel? Looks like it's Dylan Lindsay. Dylan Lindsay heads to the front for Saddleless Giant Racing. Well, wouldn't that be fitting? In the Giant Crit Crusher series, a Saddleless Giant Racing rider taken out, but behind him it's Thomason. Thomason's too quick. He's come over the top, but it's Patterson. Patterson on the line, I think, from Thomason. We didn't see Christo Ball all race, but he's popped in there for third. So he certainly keeps himself right in the mix there. What a finish. And in line with the entire series, every sprint has been so exciting.
Yeah, huge finish by the guys. There's some serious watts they were pushing out, massive heart rates as well, looking at over 60 kilometres an hour. Huge efforts by these guys.
Yeah, well, that was a big sprint there, and we'll wait for confirmation of those results because Thomason and Christo Ball separated by just 2 points before that race one. They're only going to be separated by maybe three now, so it's still all to race for in the final race of the series and race two for week four. We've been very lucky. We might see if we can talk to Trekkie Johnson if he's available. We'll see if he's able to chat after that. It was a pretty
If
pretty strong,
if he's
pretty
available and if
strong
he can
race there.
speak.
Yeah, yeah. Let's have a look. Let's go down into the pain cave with Trekkie. Hey, Trekkie, we're just saying how good you looked and how the locks were beautiful. How did that race feel?
Oh my god. Yeah, thanks for having me, guys. It's I don't know if this 8 minute racing is right down my alley, but I've been going okay. But I mean, the finishes are fast, and I don't know. Everyone's still kind of got the legs to contest the sprint, and I think my sprint just stays the same over 10 minutes or 6 hours. So
Well, evidenced by your victory in Melbourne to Warrnambool. But what we've seen is some really strong riders that are doing well in this type of discipline. And look, I've spoken about Scody Cup and Tattersalls Cups back in the days when we used to race 2 stages a day and a sprint every second lap. And you know all about that as well. It's a very special type of racing, isn't it? And it's difficult to recover.
it's so difficult to recover. I remember those old crits. It always bloody raining and cold, and yeah, it's the same thing. It's a short racing and back to back, but obviously with people all over the world and the country, so it's pretty cool. And obviously through Zwift, we've seen a lot of really strong young guys sort of come to the fore in these finishes where you need to sort of just do massive watts all race and then top it off with a sprint. So my god, they're us old blokes.
Oh, well, you don't have much time to recover for race two. We're expecting quite a lot out of you for race two. A little bit longer too, nearly 11 kilometres. So should suit you down to a T, that extra 3 kilometres. All the best. Catch your breath, and we'll see you in race two.
Thanks, guys. P10 in race one, so in the points.
Yeah, so he's
Nice work.
confirmed that. Trekkie Johnson, 10th position. It'll be interesting to see how Christo Ball and also Jason Thomason ended up. How good is it to go inside the pain caves with these riders? It's been fantastic all winter, hasn't it, Rihanna?
It's amazing. I think the fact that throughout the entire series, during this really difficult time for the entire world, the fact that these athletes have allowed us into their home to actually see them during the toughest periods of their cycling career, and during, like, just now, the race literally finished only seconds ago, and we can have these interviews and have these chats is pretty amazing and incredible for viewers like myself who can really get an understanding of what it's like for these cyclists. It's pretty incredible. We're very, very lucky.
Yeah, well, we've got a women's race on as well, and it's been going on for the 4 weeks. The series is really tight at the top of the leaderboard. They're still finishing their stage, but let's have a look if we can get down to Paul Vanderplug, should I say, Neil being his brother. Paul Vanderplug at the moment. Oh, get out of town. Last week he had the long Goldilocks going. This week he's got full face with the goggles on. I tell you what, you look all the part, Paul, but are you going to bring the legs in race two?
Yeah, well, I'm on the mountain bike on the trainer because got car doored a couple of weeks ago and my roadie's in the shop, bit busted. So I thought I'd go full race simulation. Haven't had much mountain bike racing this year, but we're here having a bit of fun for the crit crushers. But the full face was a bad option.
Yeah, a little bit hot. Tell us a little bit about that. Are you injured, or how are you recovering after your incident with that car door?
Yeah, I was a bit of a shock. I was just riding home from a casual ride and the car door opened and yeah, I'm actually not broken or anything, just bruised ribs and sore, bruised legs, healing up pretty well.
Well, you know the one thing with Zwift, you're never going to get car doored, mate, but we'll see you in race two. Catch your breath, get that helmet off because you're going to be cooking up a storm in race two.
Cheers, guys. Great work on the commentary.
Brianna, it's fantastic to go inside the houses, but how's that to be car doored on his bike? I mean, that's always
Oh,
been the biggest concern for me, riding outdoors. I'm never worried about sort of falling off
very.
because you feel experienced, you've got control of the situation. But if a car opens a door, that's a scary moment indeed.
Yeah, very, very scary. I unfortunately have had my fair share of bad accidents on my push bike out on the road, and it gives me the shivers. But how on earth did he do the sprint finish on a mountain bike? That's what I want to know. That is ridiculous.
Well,
That
the
is
big thing
truly
about
ridiculous.
The big thing about Paul Vanderplug is that we know that he was Eliminator world champion. So his power output for that short period of time is phenomenal. And we spoke about it last 2 weeks ago when he was on. We used to try and get rid of him as quickly as possible in the road racing because we didn't want to race against him in a sprint finish. His power is phenomenal. We're not far away. Race 2 will be coming up, but we had a nice little video that's been put together by 2 of the ambassadors of Giant throughout the week. That's Albie Iquani and also Lee Turner, and we'll have a look at that shortly, and then we'll get started with race 2. We're good to have a look at that now, so we'll have a look at Albie Iquani and Lee Turner.
We are at showtime this week. It's the Giant Zwift Crit Crashers finals. Just like Friday night, West Coast Collingwood, it's a big one this week. And I'm ready for it. I'm a marked man. I was slipping last week, not this week. I'll be just like the Eagles. A little bit of tack. Look at that Nananui tap work. Out to Turley. Turley kicks deep. Sumich. Sumich from 50 goes bang. Ho ho ho! Who's coming for me this week?
G'day, I'm Albie. I'm outside. It's time to go inside. Not just because it's been raining, it's because it's Wednesday. It's the last race of the Giant Crit Crusher series. I got smashed last week, I got smashed the week before, and the week before that, and I keep coming back. Hope to see you guys there. Right on!
So good to hear from those guys. They're hilarious every week. And the videos that both the men and women have been packaging together each week have been phenomenal. I must admit, I wasn't a big fan of the West Coast Eagles outfit. More a Geelong Cats man myself, I've got to say.
I'm
But
a very
certainly,
big West Coast Eagles fan.
oh, well, we might see you on the big day in whenever that's coming up, but Geelong, go the Cutters. Anyways, we just had the women's races finish round. Let's head down and have a look at the highlights of the women's race. This is the final kilometre, and we pick them up in the same circuit as the men race just earlier. Jenny Pettinen, she's on the front. She loves leading out the pack. In this final kilometre, going under the arch now, and as we've seen in previous weeks, the Rock Salt Attacker team has been phenomenal. Of course, they race on the Live bikes, so if you're looking for a nice new race bike, female specific, go to livebikes.com.au and check them out. But it's Bam Burst. She's the leader of the series overall, and she's been a big character throughout this series for us. Emma Viotto right up there as well. So too Neve Bradbury, who's been really strong also. And they're heading now, 500 metres to go. It's going to be a quick sprint here tonight.
Yeah, the girls, Vanderburg has been awesome so far in this series. Jenny Pettinen as well. She always has been very, very strong. As we can see, some of those power-ups have been getting used at the moment. The feather power-up and the aero power-ups are getting used. As we can see, Carly Taylor up there also looking really strong for the Rock Salt team. So the Watts are getting pushed out for these girls. Amanda Luxford up there too. She's been exceptionally strong throughout the series. And it is Gardner who takes the victory for the ladies.
Yes, Justine Barrow up there again this week with Neve Bradbury, and it was Luxford who took out one of the races last week, and she had a strong sprint again tonight. So Annabelle Luxford right there in the mix. As we go back and we'll see the line, that photo finish, it looks like Gardner just timed that to absolute perfection. Right behind her, Barrow just gets in there over the top of Fran Bamburst and Annabelle Luxford, Neve Bradbury, should I say, and also Charlotte Sherwell right there in the top 5 standings. So that's That's going to be straight up. Bamburst picks up some really quality points there again, Rihanna. So all for her to take out the glory tonight in the final race and the final race of the entire series. And it's been a great series. Huge turnout on all accounts for men and women. And we'll check out the standings of that stage finish just in a moment. It's been fantastic, as I said, to see such great turnout.
And she's been a real character on her social media as well. I've been following Bamburst just in the last few days, and she's certainly been entertaining.
Oh, she has. And she was so funny last week in her video. She was so stoked to finally be leading not only a live event, but to win a stage and it be recorded. So she was pretty excited. And that's what I mean. The characters that we've seen have been fantastic throughout this series, particularly those videos. Let's have a look at the men's results from that first race tonight in A grade. First up, and it was Zach Patterson. Well done to Zach. He takes out the win. Thomason and Christo Ball right there in second and third, so one more point gained there for Thomason. Gregoire Serret in fourth, Lars Husbal in fifth. Dylan Lindsay right up there, great ride for the Sellers Giant rider. Matt Robertson in seventh, Zach Herod eighth, Daryl Carter in ninth, and as Trekkie Johnson told us, he got P10, placed 10th in the first race. In B grade, strong performances there by Daniel Wells. He takes out the victory ahead of Michael Templeton. Damien Hassan picks up some really strong points there. That's important for the overall series. Shogo Fuji in fourth. Paddy Quiggin in fifth. Tony Zapala in sixth. Nick Owen loses a bit of room on Damien Hassan, so a bit of work to do in that final race tonight. Lee Hollywood there in eighth. Sebastian Retzlaff in ninth. And David Stoyle, he rounds out the top 10. In C grade, it was Andrew Bain who took out the win. Ben Gove, big shout out to Ben, who's a big supporter of Zwift. Stefan Nowicki in third. Bobby Squillo in fourth. Dale Lingwood in fifth. Patrick Smith in sixth. Great to see Jared Moroney. I hope he's all going well in Bendigo during this colder weather. In seventh, Mick Marshall in eighth. Chris Bremner in ninth. And Jeffrey Schultz, he rounds out the top 10, should I say. Ryan Looker took out the victory in D grade with Warren Smith in second. Oliver Lanús, he's been so strong throughout the winter in third. Under 12 rider. Sam Abuka in fourth. Michael Hull in fifth. Graham Pye sixth. James Cockshut in seventh. Matt Poulter in eighth. And Brent McKay in ninth, with the Japanese rider Nikkei rounding out the top 10.
And I think we've got Ben Gove having a go on the social media platforms as well. So he's multitasking very well tonight. And in the women's, in the A grade, we have Illy Gardner. She took out the win there. Justine Barrow, we saw her in second. And Fran Bamburst, we spoke about her in third. Annabelle Lux fourth. Neve Bradbury in fifth. Courtney Sherwell in sixth, Corinne Hall in seventh, Sarah Caruls in eighth, Justine Clark in ninth, and Jenny Pettenden. We all know and love Jenny. We spoke about her a lot throughout this winter period in 10th. That was the A grade general classifications there. In the B grade, we had Margot Jacket taking out the victory there, Sarah Grove in second, and Tanya Cross there in third. Sophie Ma in fourth. Besna O'Connell in fifth. Selena Shakai in sixth. Sky Talbot in seventh. Josie Simpson in eighth. Paige Sutherland in ninth. And Hannah Vine rounding out the top 10. The C grade, we had Lam Kong 2037 taking out the victory there, Tam Kite in second, and Priscilla Brown rounding out the podium. Rachel Hoare in fourth, Ingrid Nowak in fifth, Philippa Birch in sixth, Irene Hunt in seventh, Anna Johnston in eighth, Hayley Jack in ninth, and Simone rounding out the 10th for the C grade ladies. And finally, the D grade ladies, Virginia Riches taking out the victory, Tracy Williams second, and Julia Wood rounding out the podium, with Nikki Aitkins in fourth, Jo Lees in fifth, Rock Jetty in sixth, Jenny Brown in seventh, Camelia Sanchez in eighth, Mayumi Kobayashi in ninth, and WL5492 in 10th.
I've got to give a big shout out there, Rihanna, to one of my favourite young up-and-coming stars of the future, Hayley Jack, sixth in C grade, I think it was. Great result for her, but she's a phenomenal young talent to watch on the track and the road. So shout out to Hayley there. It's not far away from race 2 in the men, and we'll catch up with the boys after the finish of that race, but so close is the overall standings. Thomason v. Christo Ball it is. I'm going to go with Thomason. No, actually, you know what? I'll go with Christo Ball. I love the underdog.
Yeah, you're hedging your bet. So we head to the final race of this series, the final grand finale for the round 4 of the Crit Crushers. This is it, all on the line for the lads as we head down to the pens. The boys are off. We are in Yorkshire for the final race of the series, Pat. 10.7 kilometres in total. And we're on. And we've got a cheer squad down in the bunker now. This is cool. This is very cool. I love it. Oh, even got the outfit on as well. How good.
Yes, I love the giant little suit for Bubs Johnson there. Well, he's going to have to put on a good performance. He's got the whole family watching on. Mitch McGovern, big shout out to him for last week. He performed so well and hopefully can get a good race in tonight. Paul Vanderplug, the full face helmet weighing him down the mountain bike. Chakamoto! and and we'll see whether he can get back. But no, he's struggling a little bit out there on this course tonight. Well, in the pack, we go back and see. Remember, we've got that race on the line. It is Thomason v. Cristobal. They're the only two that can win it. But certainly the podium place looks for Kieran Lewis in third. So looking forward to seeing how this one plays out. We just saw Tricky Johnson down in his hurt garage, and so good to see Bubs there too.
Yeah, that's pretty cool to see that the whole family cheering on, the whole family getting involved while he sweats it out for this final race of this series. As I said, we've got 10.7 kilometres, about 111 metres of elevation. But it's going to be tough. It's going to be hard. They've just put everything on the line. They've had 10 minutes just to try to get that heart rate back down before it absolutely peaks one more time for another, what do we say, about 10 minutes worth of work, 20 minutes worth of work? Pat, how long is this going to take the boys?
Yeah, they'll probably finish this race in about 13 and a half minutes, but it's just been no let up. In this series, we've seen it even on the flat sections. Riders have been left behind because the constant pressure on the pedals is just too much. Bladsovic, he's out in front for Saddlist Giant Racing. Look at Kieran Lewis. Doesn't want to give up on the chances yet, and actually mathematically he's still a chance, but would need absolutely everything to go his way. This is a good little break. 2 seconds they've got, Rihanna.
Yeah, they've gone out pretty hard now, these two boys. They're hanging in there. Kieran, he's pushing hard down on those pedals, just over 430 watts. Look at the heart rate, 181 beats per minute at just over 100 RPM. So these boys are really, really going for it at the start of this race to see what they can do, to see if they can break that pack alive.
Yeah, that sideways camera action, and I am biased, but it shows me that giant propel frame set, and it's one of my favourites in the game because you can get the different colours going on it. It's a fantastic looking bike. I don't know about these riders that have got the low profile rims in tonight, though. I think it's going to be a fast finish. Jeremy Cameron, he's on the front. Gilmore comes past him for Aussie Hump Day riders. And a big shout out to the crew at the AHDR squad. They love their ride on a Wednesday. And if you're looking for a good bunch ride with some social side to it, that's definitely the one to jump onto. So this Giant Crit Crusher series comes to a closure after this race, but certainly a lot of people would have met some new people to ride with during the week. So it's great to see that social aspect of this series as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think throughout the whole entire winter, there's people that have jumped on board with Zwift and with this platform, and they've really developed a new love or grabbed a passion for this type of, training or racing or whatever it may be. And, maybe they, could have a new career on board with this kind of, platform of how to get into some sort of cycling career.
Well, and for all grades, I think what's been great about the Zwift platform, particularly during this lockdown period, is it's given people that release, and that's really important, Rihanna. We know that as people that professional athletes. You need that release. But when you're locked in your house the whole time as well, it doesn't matter what you are, whether you're a professional athlete or you're the Sunday savior. You need to get out there and just burn some fuel and let some steam off. I mean, it's nothing worse than being locked in the four walls of your home. So it's been great for people to jump on there. Drew Jim, just saw him pop up as well. Shout out to Drew. It's really been a great release for a lot of the recreational level riders, but for our pro and our riders that are looking to go professional in the future, the highlight that particularly Matt Keenan and I have spoken about is just that it hasn't held them back. Their progress has still continued to go forward, and we've seen that with young riders, particularly in the series over winter, but we've also seen new riders come to the fore in both the men's and women's. So it's been fantastic across the board.
Yeah, absolutely. And Matt Keenan, for one, I mean, if you follow him on his social media, what he's been doing throughout the tour, he's just a perfect example of someone who has excelled throughout this recent period, using the Zwift platform in his fitness and his level of fitness on Zwift.
Yeah, yes, he has. He's really. Well, I saw his FTP pop up. I couldn't get close to it at the moment, but I'm certainly a bit worried for when summer comes around again. They've got to do a few bunchies with Matt, but certainly a great call on the Tour de France recently. So back to the action. We're looking at Lopez here, and looks like Wes is going back and forth with Paul Vanderplug at the moment. I don't think he's going to be much help to you, Wes, because he is giving it everything on the MTB. What a shout out to this man! Like, it's been car doored just 10 days ago. Still lines up tonight for the Giant Crit Crusher series, but on a mountain bike. So we're going to cut him some slack. And it's also good to see Bo Valino up there. So some pretty strong riders in here tonight. Are they trying to upset the apple cart for Thomason and Christo Ball? If Christo Ball is to take out the series, he's probably going to take out this final race. And probably if he did that, it would be quite fitting that he goes out the winner. But got to say, Rihanna, I've been so impressed with Thomason over this series.
Yeah, and just remembering that it is 20 points for the victory, 19 points for second, all the way down to 1 point. So there is plenty to play for in this final race, considering how tight it is at the top. So these boys can't let their guard down. They know that it is very much all on the line.
And a lot of confidence comes out of this too. We've seen good performances from Dylan Lindsay as well from Saddleless Giant Racing. He's been right up there. Kieran Lewis, we've spoken about him already. We saw Patterson put himself on the list for a victory in race 1 tonight. So it's interesting to see how these riders will come out of the COVID lockdown. We've got the National Road Series opening back up in a few months' time, and whether we can see some of these new faces also succeed in real-life racing. And it'll be an incredible advert for what Zwift has allowed them to do in this very difficult time when no race has been available. Back on Trekkie Cam, Rihanna, and he's driving the pedals hard again.
Yeah, and I'm pretty impressed at the moment that Wes Salzberger is able to type and ride at the same time, because he is doing a good thing of multitasking at the moment as we are back in the bunker with Trekkie. He's out of the saddle, on the saddle, out of the saddle, on the saddle. So he is working pretty hard down there.
Yeah, he certainly is. I mean, Wes is back in laughing group, so you can type as much as you like back there. But certainly up here, there's no typing going on. And when you're looking at one of our best local athletes in Trekkie Johnson, I mean, in the mountain biking scene, he's phenomenal. And he's the Melbourne to Warrnambool winner. So if he's struggling like that, let's think about how we would be at the same time. And how about a big shout out for him, giving us access tonight over the live cam. It's fantastic, and it has been a really good insight into athletes. And I think for people that are at home watching these races, it does show them that they're not just rolling around at 400 watts. They are full gas.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think people are even underestimate just how much or how difficult it is to push out 400, 500 watts. I mean, some people might never even get the chance to do that, but to do that over a consistent period of time for, 10, 15 minutes is pretty extraordinary under these circumstances, considering they've just done a race and only had 10 minutes to really recover the legs. So as we see, just a small breakaway at the moment, just getting a couple of seconds in front of this little pack. So from Lindsay, he's pushing pushing out 6.7 watts per kilo. We're just clicked over 7 kilometers into this 10-kilometer race. So we're getting towards the pointy end of this final race of the series.
Yeah, really strong move from the Saddleless Giant racer, the Subaru Giant Racing Team rider, Dylan Lindsay, one of the locals who's gone back home, I think, but he was definitely a big part of the Ballarat cycling scene. So it's great to see him doing well. Looks like he's almost going to pick up Wes Sulzberger soon, who's, like I said, back in the laughing group having a type on the computer. But this is a good move by Lindsay. I know it's 3Ks to go, but they've gone over 100 metres elevation gain in a short distance. He'll go through this banner, pick up a new power up, needs to use that, still got 2 seconds time gap. And in the final race of a series, well, it's just possible a breakaway could win, Rihanna, because you've got that fight for both Christo Ball and also Thomason. They're not really worried about bringing back this rider. They want to just go and beat each other. It's a 1v1 scenario for those tonight.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, Lindsay has done a pretty significant job at the moment. He's gone out strong, but now the pack, as you see, have just started to collect him now. So he's had a good surge himself. He'll just be resting the legs and see what he's got left for the rest of this race.
Yeah, well, the Subaru Giant Racing Team has been really strong throughout the series, and I think that obviously with such great support from one of their main sponsors, Giant, for this Giant Crushers series, it wouldn't be possible without them. So, you know what the old saying goes, if you're looking for a bike, no better bike than a Giant bike. So get online and check out their bikes at the moment. And I think they're just about to release some new special items too, so keep your eyes out on their online store as well. And on the front, it's Lopez again. Herald up there as well. He was good in race 1 tonight. They've got just over 1.5 kilometres to go. Rihanna, come on. Does Christo Ball get the job done? He needs 3 points to catch and equal Thomason, or does Thomason come home with the goods in race 2 on week 4?
Yeah, it's going to come down to the wire. I think once again, as we've seen so many times in these races, Pat, these boys are not really giving too much away at this point. It's going to really come down to this final kilometre.
Yes, it certainly is, and it always does in these crit races. I think that's why people are loving them so much, particularly in the graded sections, because they get to have the 2 hit-outs in one night. Sometimes that 10-minute break's worse than good because you get enough time for the lactic acid to come out of the legs. Trekkie Johnson up there, Kieran Lewis. He doesn't want to leave no stone unturned. He's going to give it every chance to the line. Will Hodges right up there for Oliver's Real Foods. David Bolvolino, he's up there as well. Hoffman just behind him. This is a strong field coming down to the finish, 900 metres to go.
And here they go, a little pinch towards the end on a 6% little pinch. It's not much in terms of a gradient, but it is a lot when you've got this at the last part of the race, pushing now at 600 watts. Here we go, the last part of this final race of the series.
Yes, well, coming up to the Belgian Classics next week, and this looks a little bit Belgian-esque here. Lopez on the front, the Spaniard, pushing 600 watts. He's torn a hole through this group. There is single file all the way now. Sulzberger is going to be watching this one for the line. Jay Felke, who was 200 beats a minute, he sits right there. He's a chance. Kieran Lewis, he's a chance too. Trekkie Johnson, 4 wheels back. Now they start to move. Felke makes his move. This is going to be a big, it's whose ball? Oh, well, he'll be tough to catch from here. He's a strong rider, the Danish rider, and he's got the aero power up. I think he's got this one in the bag tonight. What a phenomenal move. Timing was absolutely pristine, and it's Kieran Lewis chasing behind. Christo Ball is in the right place to take out the overall as well. This is going to go right down to the line. Whose ball? You can see the line. He takes it out. Ball in second. Lewis. Well, I think we have had the upset. Thomason's fallen a couple of spots short. It's going to come right down to the line. I think it's 1 point on the general classification. Christo Ball, he sat the right wheels, followed the right move. But how was that sprint by Foosball?
That was massive at the end there. He just sat there in the group and then absolutely surged when the timing was just perfect. To see the watts that he was pushing out then, up to nearly 1,000 watts there as he came across the line. Huge surge by him. What a fantastic finish for the final race of the series.
Well, he's one of the most experienced esports racers around, and it's not surprised to see that move. But the timing was just absolutely perfect. You couldn't have timed it any better. And he's actually probably given Christo Ball the victory in the overall series, because when he has gone, Christo Ball's tried to follow that acceleration. Caught off guard a little bit was Jason Thomason, and it looks like Christo Ball's going to go crowned the Crit Crushers champion, the Giant Crit Crushers champion this year for this series in A grade. And we'll have a chat to Trekkie in a moment, but let's just let him catch his breath for a second. Rihanna, how was that sprint?
Yeah, pretty amazing. And just looking at some of the comments on the social media platforms talking about the hardest race they've ever done in their life. So I think that probably explains just exactly what we witnessed there. Pretty intense, incredibly powerful, and really, really cool to watch that.
Well, we might just jump down while it's live, the finish of the women's race. Last week's we've been doing highlights, but let's just grab it right now. Why they're going Newsom off the front. Looks like she's being chased by Gardner. That was the winner in race one. Luxford right there as well, but she's got 5 seconds gap here. It's 3.5 kilometres to go. So there's a good chance here for Rihanna, and it's a great chance for us to catch all this racing live. So this is live. We're not looking at highlights here. So this hasn't finished yet. Gardner right there. Lizzie Stannard back in the pack. But the Tibco rider of Newsom, she's strong and she can get the job done here. She's got about a lap to go. So this is going to be a hard ride. But 5 seconds, now 6, Rihanna.
Yeah, so she's made a huge move here ahead of the girls. We haven't seen anything like this really in any of the crit races. So this is pretty significant considering there's still a pretty decent amount of this race to go, considering how short these races are.
Yeah, it certainly is, but her power is phenomenal there. 300 watts constantly. The Tibco Silicon Valley Bank rider doesn't look like she's going to be reeled in. Now she pops an aero power up just to add to a little bit of that. She's got the downhill section, now gets onto the false flat. This is a really strong performance.
Yeah, very, very impressive. She's just left the other girls for dead, sitting there comfortably. But when I say comfortably, she is pushing out 300 watts. But they are the rest of the pack at the moment as we watch Zwift's very own Carly Taylor in the bunker. She's up and out of the saddle. She's pushing down hard, and really awesome to see Carly racing live and back actually racing for real. And she gives us a nice little wave there, which is very kind of her because she's working hard at the moment, Pat.
Oh, yeah, they're working really hard in this second group, but have a look at how the field is loaded. Not many left, maybe 13 riders in this second group. Not a lot of potency in there, but they are pushing the power along still as we see Carly Taylor heading up towards 300 watts. It'd be great to see how Gardner can back up in race 2 tonight. But look who is just taking the cake tonight. Newsom, she now goes out to 8 seconds lead, 7 or 8 seconds lead. This is a strong performance. Carly Taylor goes to the front to initiate the chase. We can just see the pack there. She's got 1.5 kilometres or so to go. This is the most difficult part for her right now. She's been out there for a long time, pushing big watts as we go back to the group and see Pettinen also helping with the chase.
Yeah, so they're just coming up to the little pinch that we spoke of in the men's race. So not a huge pinch in terms of gradient, but it is a huge pinch when you've just been at maximum heart rate, maximum watts for the last sort of 15 or so minutes. So these girls are going to have to work hard. Let's see if Newsom can hold on to this lead of this race.
She effectively has 150 metres lead over the chasing peloton, but remember, the numbers is important. 1.3 kilometres to go. They round that corner. They've got her in the sights. Gee, some of these women's races have been absolutely phenomenal all the way down to the line. Have a look at that angle on the Liv Langma, one of my favourite female bikes on the market, that's for sure. Always got great decals too. And Newsom she's trying to hold on, but the break is getting shorter and shorter. 4 seconds with 1 kilometre to go. Oh, it's going to be so close.
Yeah, you can see that pack now. The pack is getting bigger. It's like when you look in your mirror, things in the mirror look bigger than they appear, and the pack is getting bigger in her mirror right now. They are hunting her down. I don't know if she can hold on, and right now they have caught her, Pat. That huge gap that she had, and she's just been absolutely mowed down.
Well, Sherwell's been phenomenal in this series over the. She's been a real standout, in fact, and she deserves a shout out. Burrow, she's right behind her, Justine Barrow. We can't. Oh yes, there she is, Bamboost. She's just right there. She's got a good chance to take out the series and seal it all up. Newsom's jumped in there. She's still got good legs. Small group though, only about 9 left. They've got to turn the corner. It's a short little trip to the finish, and well, it looks like this one's going to come right down to the line.
Watching Justine Barrow at the moment, just a couple of 100 metres left in this final race of the series for these women. It is going to once again come down to the last 100 or so metres for these ladies.
There's the right-hand turn, and right up there as well was Neve Bradbury. It'd be great to see one of the younger riders take out the sprint. Bamburst, she looks like she's looking for her power-up. She's been strong all series. Will she take out another victory? Sherwell, she's on the front. Behind her is Barrow. Clark next. Gardner, winner of race 1. Bradbury right up there and now in the orange numbers. Sherwell, Barrow. Oh, Bamburst, she comes over the line right at the right time, I think. Photo finish, we're being told, so we're going to have to wait for official results. Maybe Bambust over the top, but a strong race too. 14 minutes 50 for the 11 kilometres, Rihanna, and again, another really strong performance. And although these riders are enjoying them, I think secretly they're also a little bit hating them because of how hard they are.
I think it's a love-hate relationship in these this Giant Crit Crushers series. You know, a huge amount of fun. Awesome to be able to be racing for these men and women, and everyone around Australia. But just it's just like 40 minutes in the pain cave. Just 40 minutes of maximum heart rate, maximum watts, maximum RPM, maximum everything. But really, it's great for us. We love it.
And it certainly catches you out on both ends because you're hurting because you're fresh for race 1, and then you're hurting because you're tired for race 2. So it's kind of like that's that different combo. We'll go down to Paul Vanderblook. Let's have a look. We saw him catching a few smiles in race 2. How was that one, Paul?
Oh, that was brutal with the climb, although because of the mountain bike gearing, the climb was good, and then the downhills were bad. I couldn't get the power in the pedals.
You just need to go the aero tuck. You got to go road style, my friend.
Well, what was actually good was Wes Salzberger waited for me and was taunting me in the chat, and then he just torched me in the sprint. So there's the battle within the battle.
We did see that back and forth with you and Wes. Tell us a little bit about your setup tonight, because you've got a mountain bike on, which a lot of people wouldn't usually use on their indoor trainer.
That's right, yeah. I've just got the Giant Anthem with Fox Live suspension, which is pretty handy on Zwift. But it's only got a 36 tooth on the front, and it just spins out. But it was still fun. I have enjoyed every race. They're all different. And as I said, like the internal battles that you can have are almost as fun as being at the front of the race, I like to tell myself.
Well, normally we're concentrating on the road products because a lot of people will be on their road bikes, but certainly the Giant range in the off-road this year has really stepped its game up.
Yeah, I can't wait to get back out and do some proper mountain biking up in where I grew up in the high country region. Should be an awesome summer.
Thanks, Paul, and thanks for having us in your house. It's a phenomenal setup you got there, and like I said, not often, Rihanna, we see a rider turn up to a live event on a mountain bike, but, hats off to him. As we go to Trekkie. Trekkie, how was race 2?
I was a bit better, Pat. I think everyone was a bit tired. I think I find the second race, for me, it's I can mix it in the sprint a bit more. So, yeah, it was good. I mean, super hard. And that climb, I think, with a kilometre to go was quite good. It meant the sprint was quite long. And, I managed to surge sort of with those front guys. And, I think I was 7th in the second one. So I'm pretty happy with that amongst some top Zwifters.
Yeah, just need 8 more of them back to back and you'll be right. Tell us a little bit. You've had a young child born recently. How's Zwift helped you stay in form and in good condition? Because it is difficult, particularly when you have a young one around, to find the time too. Yeah,
for sure. I think I've been a pretty early adopter of Zwift. I've been on a few years now on the platform, and it's been instrumental, I'd say, in my training. I've got a pretty busy life around my cycling career, and then obviously, with a 10-week-old, it's paying for itself, that's for sure. It's a great way to mix it up, and obviously with the racing and the interest around the commentary, it's good for our sponsors and Giant getting behind this, and you guys in commentary and Zwift. So really thankful to have the platform to kind of show ourselves off, and while there's no actual racing happening, it's the same across all sports. So if we can do it virtually, then it's great.
Yeah, it's been great to be able to come inside your garage too, and we appreciate that. So thanks very much for welcoming us in, and I hope the young bub sleeps well tonight.
Yeah, thanks, guys, and good luck to Will in Bathurst. I'm excited to see him coming back.
Thanks very much. Yeah, it's fingers crossed we can have a good one.
Yes, and correct. And look, it's at this point we really do need to thank all of our Australian and worldwide viewers that come on and watch the stream, and also our partners in this race, the Giant Bicycles, and also Live Bikes, one of the very few women-specific bikes available on the market. And I'm sure you'll agree, Rihanna, a phenomenal product.
Yeah, absolutely. I can certainly attest to the Live brand and the Giant brand. I fly the flag very high for both of those brands.
It's been fantastic to have the community support as well, and the videos contributed by the community writers all through the series. They've been actually my highlight. I've been enjoying watching the humorous videos that they've come up with along the way. We might have some results up that we can check out before we head out tonight and check out the final GC competition. It was a really good race in the men's category for A grade, as Husbal took out the victory in the race 2, with Christo Ball sealing the deal on the general classification. Jason Thomason, big shout out, great series, my friend, but ninth leaves him in second overall. Kieran Lewis will round out third, the same position he finished in race 2 tonight on the general classification. So great series for A grade. In B grade, the results for race 2 saw the winner take out by Daniel Wells. He goes back-to-back tonight. Great effort with Retzlaff in second, Ian Manick in third, Paddy Quiggin in fourth, Nick Owen in fifth. And Nick Owen might have got the job done there with an 8th and a 5th tonight to take out the general classification. In C grade, we'll see what was the results there. Warren Smith takes out the victory ahead of Patrick Smith. I think they might have been teaming up a little bit there. Andrew Bain in third, Chris Bremner in fourth, Jason Dennis in fifth. Jared Moroney up there again tonight. Craig Warnett, shout out to Craig. Mike Brooks, another Zwift HQ helper at all of the live events. Big shout out to him. Dale Lingwood and Jimmy Leach rounds out the top 10. In D grade, we saw Yuichi Akira, who's won a race previously in the series, take out the win tonight ahead of Oliver Lanús in under 12s. Murray Titchener ran out the podium in a top 3 performance. Ben Proctor in 4th, Griffiths in 5th, Mark Saunders in 6th, Michael Hull 7th, Jeff Semin in 8th, Isaiah Okubo in 9th, and Kyochi Nakai rounds out the top 10. The women's results, Rihanna?
Yeah, we had obviously Justine Barrow taking out the victory in the A grade. We had Courtney Sherwell in second and Fran Bambust in third there. Illy Gardner in fourth, Neve Bradbury in fifth, Emily Newsom in sixth, Justine Clark seventh, Annabelle Luxford eighth, Corrina Hall in ninth, and Jenny Penterton rounding out the 10th for the A grade ladies. Over in the B grade for the women, we had Vesna O'Connell taking out the victory, Tanya Cross in second, Sarah Grove in third, Sophie Ma in fourth, Nida Jamshidi in fifth, Natasha Williams in sixth, Heidi Hunt in seventh, Paige Sutherland in eighth, and Elisa Haig in ninth, and Josie Simpson rounding out the 10. Over for the C grade ladies. Haven't quite come through yet, so we might have to check on them a little bit later on, but awesome to see all the women out there competing as well as the guys, and we'll hopefully get the rest of those results up on the community pages and ZwiftPower once they are all done and dusted for the series.
Yeah, we can certainly have a look at the men's general classification points now. So we'll have a look and see how that all ended up. It was such a great battle between Christo Ball and Jason Thomason, but it's a 4-point differential that gets the job done for Christo Ball. So congratulations as the winner of the Giant Crit Crushers League in A grade. Jason Thomason was 4 points back. Kieran Lewis rounded out the top three. And our in live cam house tonight, Brendan Trecky Johnson in fourth with 81 points. Daryl Carter was in fifth. Graham Frisley sixth, Zach Herod seventh, Viz Reed in equal seventh. In ninth position, Matt Robertson, and rounding out the top 10 in the A-grade Crit Crusher series was David Kelly. In B grade, we had Damien Hassani did get the job done overall over Nick Owen. A good, strong finish in second. Just 3 points back, Paddy Quiggin, who's been strong all series. So too to Michael Templeton and Manick. They've all been in the top 10 every race. And a big shout out to Hollywood for eighth there. It's 62 points. So strong performances there throughout. And in C grade, we see at the top of the leaderboard, Dale Lingwood. Well, he was always going to get the job done. He had such a strong lead, but tonight he gets the points on the board. 123, he takes out the win from Bone Shaker and Andrew Bain. Jeffrey Schultz right there, just 3 points behind, a further 2 points behind Bremner. And a big shout out to our two young riders, Max Newsman and James Maxted, who are both really strong upcoming riders too, and we give them a big tip of the cap. In D grade, we saw the win go to Scott Dowling by 22 points over Matt Poulter, Michael Muscat in third, Oliver Lanús in fourth, Mark Saunders in fifth, Malcolm Wade in sixth, Neil Street in seventh, Curtis Gomez in eighth, Glenn Lake in ninth, and Jeff Semin, he lands out the 10th position.
And we'll just have a look at the final GC for the women. We had Fran Bamburst take out the A grade with 145 points. Justine Barrow, 138, and Courtney Sherwell there on 118. Neve Bradbury in fourth, Jenny Penton in fifth, Melanie Bennett in sixth, Carly Taylor. Awesome to see Carly Taylor there in the top 10 in seventh, Justine Clark, Bree Wilson in ninth, and Sophie Sutton rounding out the 10th for the A grade ladies in the overall GC rankings. In the B grade, we had Vesna O'Connell taking it out with 139 over Erin Bertram with 135, and Sarah Grove there in third with Josie Simpson, Selena Shake, Hannah Vine in sixth, Natasha Williams in seventh, Margot Jacket in eighth, Grace Fang in ninth, and Sharon Blegg in 10th for the B grade for the overall GC rankings. These are the updated standings for the C grade with Tam Kite on 127 points. How close was it for first and second for these ladies, with Mazza Lovegrove on only 1 point behind, 126 in second. Priscilla Brown in third with 103 points. Susie Beretta fourth. Equal fourth with Lam Kong. Anna Johnson sixth. Andrian Coate in seventh, Elise Fuchs in eighth, and Simone in ninth, and Kat C rounding out the top 10 there for those ladies. Very close for the C graders. And finally, the D grade ladies, Rock Jedi in first position with 136 points, Virginia Riches in second, Camilla Sanchez in third, Jo Lees in fourth, Lisa Hooper fifth, Julie Parry in sixth, Shelley Marie in seventh, Tracy Johnson in eighth, Lee Sara in ninth, and finally Jenny Brown in 10th, rounding out the D grade for the GC ranking points. So there we are, the final points, the final positions for the Crit Crushers, the Giant Crit Crushers series. Pat, all done and dusted.
Yeah, congratulations to the top 10 finishers on the general classification, but also to everyone else who participated throughout the 4 weeks. It's turned out to be a very successful series. I'm sure we'll see it back again. And a big thanks to Giant and Live Bikes Australia for supporting the series and allowing us to have such fun once a week for 4 weeks. All the best to everyone on the next series that'll pop up. I'm sure it won't be far away. Thanks for joining myself, Pat Shaw, and Rihanna Crean again for the Giant Crit Crushers series. It's all done and dusted. We'll see you next time. Right on.